Good morning. It is Sunday, March the 21st, and this is The Drill. You will spoil those who attempt to spoil you. This is the daily declaration for spiritual warfare. When the Egyptians enslaved my people, they oppressed my people and made their lives bitter with hard labor. They even demanded the death of my people's firstborn sons, ruthlessly stealing from them and spoiling their lives with sorrow and want. But behold, I have created the spoiler to wreak havoc on those who attack my people, just as I enabled my people to take the silver and gold of the Egyptians with them when I freed them from their captivity in Egypt, so have I given you the power to spoil those who attempt to spoil you. No weapon forged against you will prevail, for this is the heritage of my servants. Through my son you have been given the authority to triumph over the powers and authorities that would threaten to oppress and enslave you. Prayer declaration. Lead the princes of darkness away spoiled. I bind the enemy, strip him of his armor, and divide his spoils. Lord, you have spoiled principalities and powers. I spoil the enemy and take back his goods in the name of Jesus. The enemy will not spoil me, but he will be spoiled. Let the fortresses of darkness be spoiled in the name of Jesus. And that was the declaration, the daily declaration for March 21st for spiritual warfare. The basics of values is the ability for one to say to themselves, if not out loud, preferably out loud, but that some people deserve X, some people deserve Y. Some people deserve to be hired, some people deserve to be fired, some people deserve to be promoted, some people deserve to be demoted. Some people deserve to get a bonus, and some people deserve to do without that bonus. Now, it's preferable that you're able to go out into society and say that when somebody gets what they deserve, being able to say they got what they deserved. And one way or another, whether it is a negative or a positive. And by the way, that brings me to one of the most immoral things that you can do is shielding people from the consequences of their actions. Now, most people think of consequences as negative, and they want to shield people from getting hurt or having their feelings hurt. No, because you wouldn't want to shield them from positives. If they get rewarded, would you want to step in the way and prevent them from getting that reward? No. So you have to let it go when they are when they're suffering negative consequences. Part of the way people learn, hopefully not the main way that people are learning, is the hard way, trial and error. You try something, you get slapped in the face, and you realize that's not the way to go. And then you get on the right track, because we're all looking for the same thing here. We're all looking to be happy. And not just psychologically happy, but morally happy. We're all looking to be virtuous people. So it's best when you can go out into public and say, so-and-so deserved to get promoted, so-and-so deserved to get demoted, so-and-so deserved to be convicted, so-and-so deserved to go to prison, so-and-so deserved to be elected, or whatever, let's just say be elected. and be able to go and say that. Now, we don't do that, generally speaking, because we're scared. And we're scared that somebody on the left is going to ask us questions that's going to back us into a corner, and we're not going to have any answers to get to push them away. Usually, when you come out and say, well, so-and-so deserved that, the first type of question you're going to get or statement is a skepticism statement. Usually people are going to say, well, you don't know that. The proper answer to that statement is, yes, I do, and now so do you. Or they might ask you, how do you know? And the right answer to that question is, the same way you do, by the evidence of my senses and the use of my mind. So that gives you a head start on deflecting those questions, because they're really invalid questions, and they're invalid because every human being knows that some people deserve X and other people deserve Y. That's just part of our makeup. It's hardwired. Morality. We're all moral agents until there's such evidence that we are sociopaths or psychopaths. But absent some type of psychosis, then we are all moral agents, and we know who deserves what. If somebody gets a promotion unjustly, we know that. If somebody gets demoted unjustly, we know that as well. So, and the thing is to be able to say it out loud. And when I was growing up, we used to do that all the time. Well, so-and-so deserves that. So-and-so was named to the all-star team when I was playing football. Oh, yeah, he deserved that. He's a damn good player. He deserves to be on the all-star team. Or somebody else that doesn't deserve. And we say, no, he must have got that because of his parents or something like that. Because there's no way that guy has enough talent to be on the all-star team. But that's what all values come down to that. What is it people deserve? And you want to be able to say that out loud. And one of the things is to think through potential questions. Your lefty family, your lefty neighbors that want to try to stop you from expressing those values, try to do so, you want to be prepared. And I've given you 2 good examples for that. I'm going to ask some questions here. Normally I make statements because it's the conservative thing to do. The left believes erroneously that asking questions is much more important than giving answers. And anyways, as far as justice is concerned, and specifically as it relates to the death penalty, I have some questions. First of all, in terms of values overall, if you're going to have a value, whether it's political, cultural, or otherwise, shouldn't your values be consistent? For instance, and we're looking at justice. If we're going to value justice and being just, doesn't that mean that we acknowledge that some people deserve to be punished? Furthermore, then, as it applies to the death penalty, if we are going to value the death penalty as part of a justice system, doesn't that mean that we acknowledge that some people deserve to die? Chapter 10 of the 10 Commandments of Progressive Christianity. Life in this world is more important than the afterlife. We come finally to the 10th and last commandment of progressive Christianity. This one is truly a classic. life in this world is more important than the afterlife. It's hard to imagine a single statement that better captures the ethos of progressive Christianity than this one. Indeed, this 10th commandment reveals the profound pivot that progressive folks have taken, actively turning away from matters eternal to focus on matters earthly. Let's not worry ourselves about what happens after death, we are told, because no one really knows anything. All that matters is helping the poor, feeding the hungry, and relieving human suffering. This commandment marks a fitting end to this short volume because it so concisely embodies many of the values of liberal Christianity pointed out by Machen so many years ago. Here are a few of them, echoing some of the most salient points from previous chapters. Prioritizing the horizontal over the vertical. For progressive Christians, humans have a real problem, but it's not that they are rebellious sinners who have offended a holy God. Rather, the problem for humanity is that there is suffering, war, poverty, and disease. In other words, human problems are defined by progressives in purely horizontal terms, the way humans relate to the world or to fellow humans, and not in vertical terms, the way man relates to God. As a result, the highest ideal of progressive Christianity can be nothing other than fixing present, temporal problems. Speaking of eternity is seen as a distraction at best and a waste of time at worst. In fact, Gulley laments the church's preoccupation with and overemphasis on the afterlife and how fortunes are spent saving people from the imaginary dangers of imaginary places. Preaching moralism, not salvation. If there's no eternity to worry about, then what should humans focus on? Doing good works, of course. Helping our fellow man. The hallmark of progressive Christianity is a deep commitment to being good and to doing good things, Gulley states. If the church were Christian, we would do what Jesus did. Equip one another to live better in this world and stop fretting about the next one. Of course, anyone familiar with the teachings of Jesus should find this statement genuinely stunning. Jesus was quite concerned with the next world and spoke of it often. Consider just one example. Quote, "Do not fear these who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. Rather fear him who can destroy both soul and body in hell." Unquote. Matthew chapter 10, verse 28. If there is no hell, no sin, and no judgment, then progressive Christianity has no other option than to become a moralistic religion, claiming uncertainty while espousing certainty. At the core of Gulley's argument is the belief that hell isn't real. I decided not to invest any effort in saving people's souls from a hell I didn't believe in, quote unquote. Indeed, throughout that same chapter, Gulley repeatedly states that there is no hell. He's banking his eternal fate, as well as the fate of others, on this conviction. But how does he know this? Missing from Gulley's argument is any reason to think he should know such a thing. He just states his claim without any basis to back it up. In other words, an arbitrary claim. The irony of such a claim is that Gulley actually positions himself as the humble seeker, uncertain of his beliefs. Quote, "I've not yet arrived at a definitive understanding of God, and I don't suspect I ever will," unquote. This highlights one of the most notable and pernicious techniques of progressive Christianity. Claim uncertainty on the front end, but then slip your own certain convictions into the picture later, hoping that no one will notice the essential hypocrisy and incoherence of such a position. Conclusion. So we see that Gulley's final commandment masterfully encapsulates three hallmarks of progressive Christianity. It focuses on man instead of God, downplays doctrine for morality, and claims uncertainty, while all the while being very, very certain of itself. Tragically, the progressive position clouds the real message of Christianity, the real message of Jesus. Jesus cared about the suffering of humans, and he has called Christians to do the same. We do not, however, address human suffering as an act of moralism, but as a response to the grace shown to us at the cross. Moreover, we don't address temporal human suffering exclusively, for even if we could somehow alleviate all human suffering, it would do exactly nothing to meet humanity's greatest need. As Jesus reminds us, quote, "What will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul?" Unquote. Matthew chapter 16, verse 26. And that's the conclusion, the concluding chapter of the 10 Commandments of Progressive Christianity. And you can see really that it is not Christianity at all. I don't know why he maybe just for convenience sake refers to the book or titles the book Progressive Christianity. It should be Progressive Anti-Christianity, perhaps even Progressive Satanism. So, but these are, everything that I've read from that book is techniques and tools and attitudes that the left uses to come at you with. And it would do you well to study these attitudes and listen carefully to when people are talking to you, whether it's on television, in person, in print, whatever, and see if you can pick up on the attitude that is being represented by the way they speak. So that brings me to the end of another episode of The Drill. And be honest, be smart, and be beautiful. And until next time, I'm Ron, and that's The Drill.